Good morning and welcome back to Maker's Journey Workshop. I'm Benjamin Davies, and today we're making a DIY guillotine tool. It's even got adjustable gibs. Yeah! Let's get to it. This guillotine tool is going to require a lot of the same materials that you use for your Infinity Hardy. We're going to use 1.5 inch by 3/16 wall square tubing, and instead of a 1-inch shank, we're just going to use a piece of angle iron, and that's going to work really well for us. When we were first beating the idea around for this guillotine tool, we thought, hey man, we use the same material that we use for our Hardy. I even thought about maybe cutting it out in the middle. I feel like I've seen that somewhere. And then I thought, no, we'll make some bracing. And here's how I originally thought it would kind of look, just piecemealed together. And luckily, I'm grateful that we have such a wonderful community that's always contributing in the comment section below. And Caustic Puppin said, hey, why don't you just make the Mark Asbury tool? I looked it up. I can't think of a better tool for a beginner to make for a guillotine tool if you're looking to make one at home with some scraps. All right, let's get after it. All right, so we've got a piece of angle iron that's going to be the shank for our Hardy hole that's going to weld back to this thing and essentially hold the frame up on this. And we've also gone ahead and marked off. That's 3.5 inches. That's going to be enough material that it goes down and through the Hardy hole. And I want to make a wedge fit here so it's nice and tight. And so that thing's not rattling around as I'm beating on it, because it's going to take a lot of abuse. That's why we drug this over here to the grinder. That way we can grind and fit. And we're trying to get as close to that line as possible, and maybe to where we even need to hammer it in a little bit to create that nice tension that we're looking for. Real quick, and we'll get straight back into our show. Just want to take a minute to introduce myself. My name is Benjamin Davies, and my wife and I run a mom and pop blacksmith here in Shelby, North Carolina called BD Iron. We didn't start out with this shop. We had to figure out a lot of creative workarounds to get to this point, and I didn't know if that was ever going to be possible. So this channel is all about showing you creative workarounds, making do with what you have. Yep, there's better tools out there for the job, but if you've got a little bit of determination and some can-do effort, you can knock some of these projects out. Currently, we're right in the middle of our 30 for 30 day challenge. What's that? 30 YouTubes in 30 days. Our goal, to provide as much value as possible and bring you as many projects and workarounds as we can. If you're enjoying this, you think you're getting a lot of value out of this, obviously smash that subscribe button. It would mean the world to us. And more importantly, share it with some people that you think would enjoy it too. All right, let's get back to it. Thank y'all for being here. All right, we've got a pretty good taper on it. It's nice, it's gradual, and it starts to bite in as we get close to our little line. We're about 1/4 inch away, which I think a couple taps is going to give us a good snug fit. Nice, perfect, snug fit, and we've got enough hanging out the bottom to where I can go through and tap it, and it should loosen up pretty easy. Pretty pleased with that. For our next step, we're going to go ahead and clamp everything up in the Hardy hole, make sure it fits square, and tack it together, and that way we can make sure it fits there. So many times I've tacked things together sometimes somewhere else other than the place I was going to be using it, and it just didn't work right, it didn't line up right. It would be square on my table, but because of the imperfections in the anvil or in my stand or whatever it was, it just didn't work out right. This is a nice hack that's worked for me that ensures that piece is going to fit perfect to its home every time. So let's do a little bit of clean and prep work, because that welding likes the clean metal, and we'll get it put together. Got these little bullet levels, I call them square, little bullet levels. You got these little cheap ones made by Dickies, but I like it for these, short sections sometimes, or if I'm just trying to see if something's plumb. Oh, that's on the money, which means this side's gonna give me a fit. Yep, I was right. You definitely don't want to bend your piece because that's not going to help anything. But I was trying to give a couple taps at an angle so as it drove it and kind of straightened it up too. It's not perfect, but I think it's going to work for what we need. I noticed in Mark's video, he cuts the seams out of here. And you can do that with a chisel, chuck it up in a vise, stick it in there, just take your time. It shouldn't be too hard. Not done it before, it might take a minute, but it's doable. But we've got a little bit of play. So what I'm gonna do is just leave that seam in there as kind of an extra tension. All right, so don't rush this next part. Take your time, make sure everything's lined up, because if you try to rush right here, you're just gonna create problems for yourself and waste a whole morning making a tool that's not really gonna function right. So take your time, a couple little taps, and get her lined up. So if you're a new welder or new to it, throw a few tacks in it. We're looking for some equally spread out tacks. I'll probably throw a tack at the top and a tack at the bottom on each side. Make sure it's good and hugged up and squared up. And then I'm gonna take it to the bench and I'm gonna get comfortable and I'm gonna finish my welds off there. Take your time, don't rush this. You can make some ugly welds and still make a pretty good tool. Don't worry about it. A little tip and trick, clean as you go, even if you're using it 5 minutes later, it just makes your workstation flow that much better. All right, even though they're just little tacks, we should be able to take this out and give it a couple taps from the bottom without it, coming loose. So simple, so easy, made out of scraps. All right, let's finish it up. All right, just gonna give a quick wire brush. Not gonna put a lot of time or effort into cleaning this guy up. One of the things I've learned over the years for me is I wanna make the tool quick and dirty as possible. And that way, it's not sucking my time. I've spent days on tools before to where they never turned out right and I was just trying to perfect it. Sometimes you just need to get out of your way and make the ugly tool that'll work well for you. Maybe just a tippy tap tap. Oh my gosh. Now all that's left to do is let's make some dies. Before we do, I want to make one modification that Mark doesn't have to his tool, and that's primarily because Mark got a pipe that fit better. I made this what I had laying around, and so there's a workaround for that too. It would have been nice had this pipe just worked and it had a nice snug fit, but what I don't like, and I think might give me a little trouble down the road, is it's got a little bit of play in it and a little more than I want. I've got a quick workaround for that too. And if you've seen our video on the Infinity Hardy tool, you can kind of get an idea where this is going. I'm really excited about this. This is gonna make it to where we can lock our bottom die in and then put some tension on these with minimal slop in it. And that's really gonna help us produce some consistent results. But I didn't come up with this idea, it's not original. Our Big Blue Power Hammers have the same kind of system for their rams. It's an awesome idea that allows me to adjust those gibs as the hammer gets worn in over time to make it tighter or looser, and that way these dies match up below. All right, for the last step, we're gonna make ourselves a set of butcher dies. And I'm just gonna get this 1-inch bar, same parent stock that we use for our Infinity Hardy tool. I'm gonna cut it at a 45-degree angle. 45-degree angle's pretty simple. It's gonna give us a good starting point. And you'll learn pretty quick if you need a steeper or less aggressive angle, but I think 45 is gonna be a good aggressive place for us to start for isolating some material. And if you do your measuring right, you only have to make one cut, and that'll account for both sets of dies, and then cut off the excess for the top die. About 1.25 inches there, I think that should be plenty of space. If you don't have a portaband, use the angle grinder. That's why we drew out on all 4 sides. It's a great way to take your time. If your angle grinder won't reach all the way through, maybe you're low on disc, that's happened to me before. Just take your time and cut from both sides and go slow. So we've got reference marks on there. Another tip and trick to learn with the angle grinder is kind of like if you've ever had to drill an angled hole and didn't have the jigger, the setup, what you want to do is you want to start that hole first. And what I always do is I start that hole and I let it get about 1/8 of an inch in, and then I angle the direction that I want to go to kind of toenail it in there. I'm gonna do the same thing right here. I'm gonna bite on right there on the side and get a little groove started, and then I'm gonna turn the saw. They're not perfect, but they're pretty close. I'm gonna do a quick cleanup at the grinder, and our tool's done for the day. And now you got a tool where you can make an unlimited amount of dies to where you can go through and isolate material. That's a huge game changer for you if you're not somebody who's working with a striker or have access to power forging equipment yet. Something to note as we clean these up, we don't want any sharp edges. We're actually gonna round those edges off just a little bit, and that way it's not leaving any cold shuts in our metal, because what if it's too sharp and it bites into your metal too aggressively, what it'll do is create a little crack. That's just gonna create problems and eventually break. All right, final steps. All right, let's finish strong here. Let's talk about some pros and cons of this tool. Let's go ahead and talk about the cons. First thing, get them out of the way. I have no doubt this tool will be excellent, and we're going to use it in some upcoming videos just to prove it. First big thing that I see that might be a con is there's no bracing on this side. So if you don't swing accurate and you mislick, there's a chance that you can bend that little piece of angle iron up. But we've got this piece working for us, so maybe not so bad. That might actually be more rigid than what I'm talking about here. Yeah, that's the only con I can think of. And you could always beef it up by welding another piece on the other side. I think it's going to be an awesome tool for us. You can cut your dies, you can forge your dies, and you can use the Infinity Hardy tool to kind of start your top form and meet in the middle. It's just going to lend itself well. The biggest thing I like about it is it's so beefy, and it's such a budget-friendly design. I'm counting 1, 2, 3 pieces for just the frame. And this is something extra that we did because we didn't have as tight as a fit as I would like. There's a little bit of slop in it. You're going to have a little bit of play in any Hardy tool, or else it wouldn't slide up and down. And so I just kind of put these in there to work like little gibs that we can tighten up. I might put some all thread on there or something like that, or an extra nut in there, and that way I can figure out exactly where I like it, what's the sweet spot, and go from there. You could probably rabbit hole, mill out some grooves and this, that, and the other. I'm not looking to do that here. I just want a beefcake tool that I can come in and isolate some material with by myself on a Saturday. I wish I would have thought of this or seen Mark Asbury's design to begin with. Man, I love this tool. I'm excited. Definitely get out there and make one of these. We're going to do some projects in the upcoming 30 for 30. That involves this tool right here. Thank y'all so much for being here, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.